Please like and comment on the video below. That will allow me to produce better quality videos and more of them in the future. If you're interested in learning to trade successfully on sports, then why not visit the BetAngel Academy, where we have more detailed videos. So if you're looking at a betting market, the only way that you can make money in the longer term is by backing at odds that are above the implied chance of that particular event occurring. So if you can back a football team that has a 50% chance of winning, but the bookmakers are going to give you odds that represent a value above that, you will make money in the longer term. The way that bookmakers make money is by offering you odds that just don't represent value or the true chance of something happening. In order to understand that properly, you need to really understand what the odds mean. So that's what we're going to explore in this video. What we're actually going to do here is we're going to take fractional odds, we're going to convert them to decimal odds, and then convert that to implied chance, so you can actually see and understand exactly what value is or isn't being created when you place a bet. Now, the problem that most people have when they place a bet is they're just placing a bet to win. All that they do is stick a tenner on something because they think it's going to win. There's no concept of value in there whatsoever. But by understanding odds, you will get to understand value, and therefore you will be able to place more sensible bets. So let's have a look and see how odds are constructed. So you may go into a market and you may see odds quoted at something like 9 to 4. So we're going to have to use a spreadsheet here, but I'm going to use a spreadsheet to show you the calculations that I'm doing and how I'm arriving at the conclusion that I am. So you can see at 9 to 4, if you put a tenner at 9 to 4, what does that mean? What does 9 to 4 mean? And basically, when you're looking at fractional odds, you're looking at a ratio. So if you put £4 down, you will win £9 back. That's the easiest way to understand fractional odds. £4 down, you get £9 back. Now, of course, with your tenner, that makes no sense because you're going to put a tenner down, how much are you going to get back? So effectively what you're looking at with fractional odds is a ratio. So if I actually go in here and type in a calculation, if I do 9 divided by 4, it's basically a ratio of 2.25 times your stake you will get returned. So if you put £100 down, you'll get 2.25 times back what you have originally staked. So that's the way that fractional odds work. What you're viewing when you're looking at fractional odds is a ratio. So 100 to 30, 6 to 4, 5 to 4, 7 to 4, 9 to 4, all of those things are ratios based upon how much the bookmaker is willing to pay you based upon the stake that you give him. Now, when you look at a betting exchange, they tend to not use fractional odds. And now, if you move your mouse over the odds, it will very often give you a comparison of fractional odds, so you can actually do a direct comparison between fractional and decimal. But let's have a look at how you would convert a fractional odd to a decimal odd and then into an implied chance, because that's the most important part of what we're going to do. So if we look at odds of 9 to 4, you can see what I've done here is I've done 9 divided by 4 equals 225. To convert it to decimal, all you need to do then is add 1 to it. So if you're looking at odds of 9 to 4, the ratio is 225, and it means the decimal odds will be 325. So if you go on to the exchange that you're going to use and you see odds of 325, that is 9 to 4 basically. But what does that actually mean? Is that a value bet? If we saw a football team priced at 325, is it value or not? How do we know that that is the case? So if we go in to the spreadsheet again and I do 1 divided by 325, you can see that that comes out at 0.3077. So what is that number? That number is actually a percentage. To make it easier to understand, if I click on it and then click on the percentage on the spreadsheet, then you can see that this is basically saying that 325 represents a 30.77% chance of this event actually going on and occurring. So for the sake of completeness, what I'll do over here is if I just do 1 divided by 325, 1 divided by the percentage, you can see we can flip it back the other way. So to get this percentage, I did 1 divided by the odds, and if you've got a percentage, then you can actually do 1 divided by the percentage to get the odds and convert it back in the other direction. So if we're going to place a back bet at odds of 325, we're saying that we think the thing that we're backing has a 30.77% chance of winning. But let's say that, for example, that we think that it's got a 40% chance of winning. So I'm going to go in here and type in 0.40, which you can see the spreadsheet is updated for me as 40%. If I now do 1 divided by 0.40, that cell over there, can you see it comes out at 2.5? So what we're saying is we think the chance of this event occurring, this selection winning, is 40%, which would mean that we're willing to accept odds down to 2.5. At any odds below 2.5, it becomes a lay bet. If the odds are above 2.5, then it becomes a back bet. Why? Well, if we look at this, we think it's got a 40% chance of winning. We've done all of our stats, we've done all of our maths, we've religiously thought through the whole thing, we've really focused on it and looked at it in great depth, and we've come up to the conclusion that there's a 40% chance of this happening. However, the bookmaker thinks there's only a 30% chance. So if we do 40% minus that 30%, can you see that says 9.23? That's saying that actually we have a 9% edge here effectively. If our maths is correct, if our theory is correct, then we think it's got a 40% chance. We're convinced that it's got a 40% chance of winning, and the bookmaker has got his odds wrong. So we do actually have some margin there. If we can back at 325 when we think its true odds should be 2.5, we're going to make money there. However, let's change these odds up here. If we say we're now looking at 5 to 4, we'll go through the same process again. So if I go into this cell and I do 5 divided by 4, and then we add 1 to it, can you see the odds come out at 225? So this is now saying that the market thinks there's a 44% chance of this particular event occurring, this person winning or this team winning, whatever market you're looking at, and yet we've said there's a 40% chance and it's 225, and you can see that number has turned negative here. So we think it's got a 40% chance of winning, which equals 225. We're willing to back down to odd. We will place a back bet if we get odds at 2.5 or greater. However, if something's at 5 to 4, the market is offering it to us at 2.25. It's below our threshold. There's no reason that we should place a back bet in this market. In fact, you may even want to consider placing a lay bet in this particular market because the odds are just no good there. So the thing you'd have to say is that 4% margin enough? Yeah, am I confident enough that I think that my guess, for want of a better word, my model is a better word, is accurate enough that I know that I've got a 4% edge in this particular market, in which case you would lay it. But basically when you go into a market, this is what you're saying. You're saying, okay, you know, Manchester United are playing this team. If they played them 10 times, they would win 4 of those games. And that's where your 40% is coming from. And if you can come up with a reason why that is definitely going to happen, given all of the circumstances, the team, the news, the weather, fixtures that they've got coming up, and you think they're going to win 4 out of 10 of the next matches, then that would be how you come up with that 40% figure. You can convert that 40% figure to odds and then see if those odds are available. So on this occasion it isn't, but if we go in and we modify the odds that are being offered here, we're offering 10 to 4, which then resolves at a ratio of 2.5, which converts to decimal odds of 3.50. Obviously, if you were willing to back a team at 2.5, the market's offering you 3.5, then it necessarily makes a lot of sense to back it. But the most important thing, by understanding the way that these odds are created and the way that you can convert them, is this tells you that according to your model that has a 40% chance of winning, you have an 11% edge here, and therefore it's worth placing the back bet. And obviously if you want to make money in the long term on any betting market, you need an edge, and you need a definable edge, and one that delivers as much margin as possible. So you could assess a whole range of bets, see which one has the biggest theoretical margin, and then go for that particular bet. And if you do have an edge and you have priced the market correctly and better than the market has, then over time, while you may not win on this particular event or the next one, over a long period of time, if you've got an edge of this sort of magnitude in the market, then you definitely will make money.